if you're going to master something, the first thing you have to do is admit to yourself that you're not a master of it already. You have to allow yourself to be the fool. I was about 6 feet tall, but about 135 pounds, like very, very thin and not very strong. And one of the obstacles to me of being in the gym was that people would come over and show me how to use the weights. And that's friendly, but it's also very annoying. One of the things you can imagine that when people are going to hit the gym, especially if they haven't been athletic, there's a couple of things that are going to be impediments. They're going to be self-conscious. They don't know what the hell they're doing. Plus, hypothetically, they lack discipline. Now, you had the advantages of being somewhat on the larger side and also being athletic, but how did you develop the discipline and what impediments did you have to overcome as you were developing that discipline?
You don't start something because you're passionate, you stick with it because you're passionate. So I kind of just started it. I fell into it naturally. And like I said, as I started to see results and get a little bit more joy out of it, I started to become more passionate and put more effort into it. And every year since I was a child, I've become a little bit more consistent, a little bit more passionate, put a little bit more effort into it. So my discipline has continued to grow over time because I just stuck with something for a while and want to see how it went, and it just kind of tumble affected. But I definitely had some of the similar feelings, and I hear it from everybody about being a little anxious being in the gym. And it's funny, it's people will come help you to make you feel comfortable, but like you said, it can almost be demeaning, make you feel a little bit like, all right, you think I need your help? And at a young age, I remember I didn't have a car or any way to get there all the time. My parents would work late. I would run, even in the winter in Ottawa. It would be like a foot of snow on the ground and I'd be jogging to the gym. It was about 1.5 miles, but still a decent little run in the snow. And I was just super dedicated from a young age because I loved it so much. I slowly learned over time that no one in the gym is looking at you or judging you. Everybody who's been in there was a beginner at some point. So they're not looking at you making fun of you. They were you probably a year or two ago. And everyone's just truly there to help out. And I've discovered that the fitness community in general is a very encouraging community, because everybody has the same experience as you. They get in, they feel better, they get some confidence. They're like, this is great. Like, I would love for other people to feel this too. You hope, if they're nice enough. And that typically allows them to be very inclusive and want people to come and join and just be a part of it all. So I found it's not as judgmental as people think once you're in it.
That's a really good point, because part of being self-conscious in the gym, and this is true for overweight people and for anybody who's out of shape or for anybody who just doesn't know what they're doing, which is pretty much everybody when they go to the gym the first time, especially if they don't have a history of athleticism. It's very easy to think that these people who are throwing the weights around in there are judgmental. It's really a consequence of your own self-consciousness and proclivity to self-judgment. But the fact that those people are in there working on themselves does indicate very clearly through their actions that they believe that they still have work to do. And as you said, the probability that many of them who are in there, or perhaps all of them to some degree, were in the same boat as you at some point is very, very high. And it was certainly the case that the people who were coming over to help me weren't doing it in a judgmental way. That was my problem. And one of my favorite thinkers, psychoanalyst Carl Jung, pointed out, he said the precursor to the redeemer is the fool. And what he meant by that was that if you're going to master something, the first thing you have to do is admit to yourself that you're not a master of it already, because then you wouldn't have to do anything. So you have to allow yourself to be the fool. And one of the things I've noticed about people who are highly successful is that they will jump into new things that they don't know anything about and be the fool. Be the person who doesn't know anything. Be the person who's low man on the totem pole. Start at the lowest rung, and they won't pretend to know more than they do know. They ask the stupid questions that are necessary. They humble themselves in accordance with their novice position. They accept that weight, but they also do so in the understanding that if they're honest with themselves, they can make the kind of incremental progress that you described, right? Because you said you got more and more disciplined as the years went by. It doesn't matter if you start at the bottom. What matters is that you're so stupid and blind that you refuse to learn and that you stay there, right? So it's trajectory that matters and not absolute position. And so that's a useful thing for people to know. It's like, of course you feel like a bloody fool when you do something the first time. What the hell do you expect? You are a fool. But that doesn't mean that you can't move beyond that.